Hear me? Oh, there we go. It's time for PowerPoint Karaoke! We've been doing this for years. Maybe one day we'll get the introduction right. Welcome to PowerPoint Karaoke, the most popular panel on main stage at 3:30 on a Friday. And I realize I didn't actually have to qualify it. I believe this is the only 3:30 panel on main stage, as there was none yesterday. Tomorrow there'll be Masquerade, and I don't think there's one on Sunday. So we are the most popular 3:30 panel on main stage ever! Now, being the most popular panel on main stage at 3:30 ever, we do not rest on our laurels. That's right. We are going to do something we have never done before. We found judges at the last minute. Because neither Melissa or I thought about it. Anyway, what we did think about was PowerPoint Karaoke, and I do need to introduce first, back at the tech table, the most important person probably at CONvergence ever, Melissa Kaercher. Thank you. That's right, not just on main stage at 3:30, but forever and for always, most important person at CONvergence. The second most important...
You're only saying that because I'm running your tech.
Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah. The second most important person at CONvergence, I don't even know who that is. It doesn't matter. All right. My name is Tim. I am your host. I'm going to explain a little bit about PowerPoint Karaoke. We'll bring our judges out here, then we'll bring our presenters. Here's the basic idea. We are going to do 4 PowerPoint presentations today. Now, the important thing about these PowerPoint presentations is our presenters have never seen them, and they make absolutely no sense. So they're going to come out here, they're going to tell you what their presentation is about, and then they're going to watch a presentation unfold, and they are going to try and make it logically fit with what they've already decided to talk about. That sounds really hard, and it is. But to help them, we do have some rules. Do we have a rules slide? Oh, there we go. So each contestant will be given 6 minutes. That's right. The hell only lasts for 6 minutes. 6 minutes to complete the presentation. Then they'll be scored by judges. I'm getting to the judges in just a minute. They're standing back there like, when are we going to get to me? Each contestant 5 points in each of the following categories for a total maximum of 20 points in content and credibility. In other words, what did they talk about? Was it credible? Did it make sense? Poise and gestures. When the weird crap shows up on the screen, do they stick with it, or do they have a little bit of a challenge? Flow. Do they really sound like they know what they're talking about? And audience response. That's your job. Be completely silent. They love that. So, I know it might be a challenge, but good luck. So, with that, I'd like to introduce our judges. Once again, these are judges that we found at the last minute by surveying you, the audience, and saying, who'd do this? Here's the answer for you, the 3 people that said yes, and they deserve a lot of appreciation for that. Please, put your hands together for Charles Hubble. Hi, Charles. Thanks for coming out. Also with Charles, we have Ariel Leaf. Ariel Leaf. And finally, Angela Fox. Let's hear it for Angela. The one member of our judging panel who can never act anything but enthusiastic. All right, now we have 4 presenters here today who are all experts at PowerPoint Karaoke. They have done this before. They know their stuff, and it doesn't matter because whatever Melissa is coming up with will stump them because it always does. And that's why we're here, isn't it really? At least that's why I'm here. So let's hear it for our first presenter today. It is Gregory Parks. Let's hear it for Gregory Parks. Here he comes. All right. Gregory.
Hello.
Hello, so glad to have you back with us. Have you settled on a presentation topic for us today?
Yes, the topic I will be discussing today is, should I have done that?
Should I have done that? It's a great question. Let's
Yes.
find out the answer. Go ahead and start.
Right. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Once again, my name is Gregory Parks. Thank you for joining me for today's lecture. Should I have done that? First slide, please. Now, I don't own a dog. I am not a dog steward, but I bet that many of you out there do have dogs, and you have encountered something like this. You enter into your living space, and there are several things in disarray. And the dog is just sitting there, either looking innocent or having a knowing face, knowing that you are going to react. And you react with utmost fury, scolding your little furry friend who shows shame. And then perhaps they walk away, tail between their legs. Now the dog already knows that they probably should not have done that. But how about you? Yelling at your dog like that. You find yourself doubting, should I have done that? Well, the questioning is the first step to your success. It's the first step to changing your behavior. You have already acknowledged the impact that your outburst has had on your dog. So the first step is acknowledging the impact of your actions. Next slide, please. Now, there are times when impulse will rule the roost. Impulse will take the wheel of the bus and the accelerator and drive you over that cliff or drive you through that roadblock. In many ways, like a happy frog jumping from someone's hand to their forehead. And sure, it feels great. And you're this colorful, jolly, happy little four-legged, three-toed being doing your thing. But that impulse is going to be your first roadblock in learning from that first step that I talked about, that first step of acknowledging your impact. The impulse could be your worst enemy, or your worst, maybe not enemy, your first learning opportunity, shall we say. In questioning yourself, in acknowledging patterns, and changing behavior. Now, I'm not a therapist, but I have been attending therapy for 6 years. And that is one of the most constructive things that you can do. Not only acknowledge your impact, but acknowledge when that old pattern shows up. Next slide, please. The next thing, after acknowledging impact, is acknowledging your reaction, acknowledging your emotions. Sometimes we want to share. Social media gives us ample opportunities to share, but there's that impulse again. If you follow through on that impulse, you're for sure going to find yourself wondering, should I have done that? You need to know your audience. You need to know your network. Build a network, a support structure of friends, people who will listen and not just tolerate you. And that is so important on Facebook. You don't want to be that crazy uncle or that friend who's, well, he's a good guy once you get to know him. No. There's that impulse again. It's important to recognize that pattern. Again, social media, the need to share, the drive to share, because humans want to connect. We just have to be mindful about who we connect with. Because otherwise, you might find yourself on the wrong side of the sharing and emotional hostage situation. Next slide, please. when dealing with yourself and with interacting with your chosen community, you have to be sure of how you interact with them. When you're dealing with the blowback or the results of your choice. Yes, you're questioning, should I have done that? Yes, you're being a little more mindful of who you interact with. But how are those people going to feel? That doubles back to the impact. Are these people, are they more casual people? Or are they more formal connections? It's those formal connections that take the greatest effort, but could yield the greatest reward in helping you recover from the realization of what you did, whether you should have done it or not. If they are more formal, more cultivated, then they can help you decide, was that a good idea or was that not a good idea? Should I have done that? Or should I not have done that? Cultivate a formal friend group that can tell you about yourself to your face without mincing any words. Next slide, please. The questioning of should I have done that lives firmly in the overlap of F around and find out. But that is an area of doubt. And doubt can be fertile ground for growth and learning. Because without the finding out, you never learn. If you never learn, you don't have a chance to grow and improve and be a better person. And then, through repeated experience, through practice, you don't always have to F around to find out. Because you have grown, you have learned from past experiences, taken all of this data that will then help you spend less time in that mossy, nasty, sick evergreen area of should I have done that? Next slide. So in summary, should I have done that is not necessarily an indicator of you being a bad person. But the mere act of asking means that you are a thinking, feeling person, not disconnected from empathy, not disconnected from your feelings and sense of awareness and other people's autonomy. And in asking yourself over and over again, should I have done that, you might find that eventually, if you're not asking yourself, should I have done that less, you are saying to yourself, should I have done that? Yes.
Here for Gregory Parks. Gregory, very well done. I'd love to say, I'd like to say I learned something from that presentation. I'd like to say that. It's not really true, but we'll see what our judges have to say. They probably were paying more attention than I was. Ariel, do you have any feedback for Greg?
Well, first off, I would like to say that my judging has nothing to do with the fact that Gregory Parks will be in my next Fringe Festival show. Oh. But as far as content and credibility goes, Gregory has this in spades. I attended his last lecture, Why Haven't I Done This Yet? And was delighted with the follow-up. 5 points there. Now, as far as poise and gesture goes, he had strong hands, powerful eyebrows. He just needed to get out of the slightly constipated pose that he was holding gently behind.
Yeah, I had that too. Yeah.
His flow, however, so that I would say that's a strong 3.5 there.
Very strong.
As far as flow goes, though, there was no hesitation until we got to the Volkswagen. We had a little bit of a swerve there, but you got back on the road and the audience stayed with you. 4 points. And last, for audience response, you connected lovely with your audience. I wish you'd connected a little bit more with us. Solid 4.5.
Okay. I don't know what the difference is between a solid 4.5 and a weak 4.5, but perhaps Charles will explain. Charles?
Well, on the other side, I want to say never connect with me ever. I think it's so brave of you to come up with this title on July 4th, America's birthday, at 3:30 in the afternoon. I want you to know I hear you, I see you. Just make sure it's that way instead of this way. I'm going to go with the content credibility of 4. I think your poise and gestures, I don't mean to conflict here with my fellow judge. I'm going to give you a 6 on that. Your flow is going up to 8, and I think the audience reaction was the best part of your speech. I give you a 10. I do want to vet your sources, so I'd like to see a list of your bibliography, and that's all I have to say.
Well, we have learned that Charles was not a math major. Angela.
Well, first I want to commend you on your choice of topic because that is something I often ask myself at Con. Should I have done that? The answer doesn't always end up at yes, like yours was, but it is a good question to ask ourselves. I'm going to keep the points I give you hidden because I might change my mind if I like someone else more. So I also would like to give you extra points for bringing up therapy. And I feel really touched because I am in therapy for my use of Facebook and my Stockholm Syndrome. So I feel like really personally talked to, which is really nice, except for one thing. You really kind of left out a big part of your audience. You only talked about dog pet owners. Like, there's a lot of cat owners, right? Yep. And also you insulted people who like green.
Okay, well, those are some interesting points.
But it was still great. It was still great.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. Gregory, thanks so much. Let's hear it for Gregory Parks. Our next presenter, another veteran, has done this before, has been coming to CONvergence for years, has been a CONvergence guest of honor, and even beyond that, is honored to be here today. I don't know why. So, please put your hands together for Miss Shannan Paul.
Thank you, Tim. Happy to be here. Happy to be here, Tim. Thank you, judges. Hello, everybody. Shout out to everybody. Thank you for joining my live stream. I appreciate all of you being here today.
So, Shannan, what's your presentation?
Oh,
topic
I'm going to help everybody live their best shameless life as I teach you the tips of becoming a top social media influencer, friends. Welcome to my live stream. Welcome to my live stream. Make sure you tap that screen, friends. Tap that screen. Tap follow and subscribe. Tap follow and subscribe. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Make sure you pay attention throughout the live. I have my moderators right now. They're going to make sure that we move forward with all of the slides in an efficient manner. And hey man, if you go out of place, blocked, man, blocked. So, all right, we got to move on quickly now. So first slide, please. First slide, everybody. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. The goal is always to post your content. Sometimes you're like, I didn't have time to make sure that I had on the right outfit. I didn't have time to brush my teeth. Sometimes I'm looking like, hey, you know what? I wanted to put a blur focus on that filter. It didn't have time. But you know, post your content, regardless of what it is, especially if you can do it to make sure that you are in alignment with what is going on. Everybody right now, we're searching for what's going on 4th of July. You want to make sure you use that hashtag, right? So go ahead, post your contact, everybody. Next slide, stay in. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. I see you. I see you. I see you. Collaborations are key. Yes, friends, if you are trying to be like me and grow your brand into a six-figure brand, collaborations are key. We're not in this just to make friends. That's what we did when we used to be on Facebook. We're not trying to be friends. We're about likes and views, and then once you get enough of those things, you could be like me, and Juvia's Place will send these products to your house. Would you like to be like me? Tap that screen if you want to be like me right now. Tap that screen, everybody. You can get the best collaborations. The more collaborations you have, you make sure you put them in your shop, everybody. That's what we're doing. It doesn't matter if sometimes they get a little spooky. Hey, all that matters is that you started someplace. Next slide, please. You know what? Sometimes you're like, what am I going to post about today? And I'm just out of ideas. I don't know what I'm going to do. And so I want to tell you, look around your house. You just walk ahead, take a few steps into your crib. Sometimes open the refrigerator. The first thing you see, that's your inspiration, friends. You don't need to overthink it, man. This is social media. This is not a PhD. This is social media. What matters is that you are posting. And so sometimes people just get stuck up in their head and they're like, nobody's going to worry about this. You know how many varieties of cheese there are? There is a cheese for everybody. So if you're grows in your audience, don't talk about one cheese. Talk about blue cheese. Talk about white cheese. We're not going to discriminate here. That's not what we do. But post that content. Next slide, everybody. Tap that screen. Welcome in. I see you. While you're here, I just want to make sure I shout all my friends out. So if you're here, just go ahead real quick. Drop in the chat. Drop in the chat where you're at right now. Drop in the chat where you're at. I see you, man. Don't flip out right now. I don't need you right now. Go ahead. Drop in the chat where you're from. I'll shout you out. Okay, look, sometimes you're like, I don't know where I'm going to go visit, but I'm going to tell you, sometimes you get tired of being in your own spot. You need to go touch grass. And I see day after day, I see the content of people touching grass, and it goes viral all the time. So sometimes, even if you're just making space in your backyard and you're like, hey, I'm going to go out here, just make sure you frame it a little bit. This is what I got to do. Sometimes I got to put it way down here like this. So all you can do is just see my kicks touching the grass. That's how you go viral, everybody. Go out sometimes. Find yourself a park. You never have to make sure you're alone. Sometimes just see somebody walking in the background so you don't look like you're lonely. Go ahead and do that. All right, next slide, please. Next slide. You know what? Sometimes you start looking for things as a creator. You look for things as a creator, and I'm trying to go, what else is everybody talking about? And I'm not one of those people that has a dog, but I see everybody talking about dogs. So what I'll do is I'll just post a video sometimes, and then I'll just say in the hashtag, hey, man, have you ever heard of a three-headed dog? And then people will follow me, and I wasn't even talking about dogs. I wasn't even talking about dogs. I don't really even like dogs like that, but it doesn't matter because you're just trying to post your content. So if you sit there and you worry too much about being authentic, that's not what I'm telling you. I said shameless, people. I started this conversation with telling you to be shameless. I didn't say be authentic. They said be authentic. Authentic was 2 social media platforms ago. We have evolved past authentic, friends. We have evolved past authentic. If you're still trying to do authentic, that was 2020. That's what we were doing, sitting in the house alone. We don't do that anymore. Now you're trying to show your best life. No, go out there. Say, you know what? One of these days, I'm going to manifest the fact that I have a dog, and it's not going to be a certain dog. It's going to be a 3-headed dog because I got it like that. That's what you're going to do. Next slide, please. Next slide. Stay with me. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. You didn't come here just to lurk. Don't lurk. Tap the screen. Tap the screen. We need to get to like 75,000 likes. That's what we're going to do. 75,000 likes is 6 minutes. That's what I'm working for. Yay, man. We all need to go with a viral sound. That's what you need. Sometimes you don't even be doing anything in the video. You just be sitting there at the video eating your lunch. But all that matters is the sound. And you search for that sound. Right now, the sound that is going the most viral is that sound of summer. They give you that hot summer look, that glow-up look. You know what I'm doing. I see you right here smiling. I see you right there. I see you. You're going to be invited up to the live the next time. I really like. Sometimes you're just looking at somebody's little picture and you go, ooh, they look good in that picture. I don't know how they look blow up, but look in the picture, they look good in the little picture. That's all that matters. You just got to look good in the little picture. So you just get that little picture, you put it right there, put a good filter on it, and then that sound of the summer, I'm telling you, right now I'm thinking it's that new Miley Cyrus joint. That new Miley Cyrus joint is banging, right, everybody? Tap the screen if you like Miley Cyrus right now. If you're kicking it with Miley, I know I'm kicking it with Miley, man. She had that going, I gotta think. Do a couple of those things, even if you're not good at the dance. As long as you got the new sound with you, you good. Next slide, please, everybody. Okay, moderators, I think you need to take care of that person. I think the main thing I want to remind you as you are building yourself to that 6-figure brand is shoot your shot. Shoot your shot, friends. Shoot your shot. Sometimes that shot seems insurmountable. When I first started my thing, I only had 2, maybe 3 followers. I was posting videos, I was getting 2 likes at the most. I had maybe like 200 views. I was stuck in 200 views there, and every day I was just crying. Miss Shannan, ain't nobody watching your videos. Why are you doing this video just for yourself? But you know what I did? I got up every day, and I shot my shot. And then one day, it wasn't 200 views. It was 250 views. Tap that screen if you want to say amen to me getting 250 views, everybody. Tap that screen. So whatever your shot is, your shot might be different than mine, but go ahead and shoot that shot. Hashtag post your content. Hashtag post your content. Next slide, please. Next slide. I'll be honest with you, we are constantly trying to look at what the next algorithm is. And for a lot of us, you sit there trying to be all clever, trying to figure out how you're gonna come up with the next cool thing. I just need you to swipe a little bit and look at some of those algorithms and look at those insights, is what you needed to check out those insights. Don't worry about being clever sometime. Just look at somebody else and see what they're trending and just cheat and follow along and do whatever they did. There's a whole bunch of people that got famous just doing stuff that other people used to do. Cheesy and all. Next slide. Friends, I gotta go. I gotta get off of this live stream right now. I gotta go do something else. I'm gonna run out, run some errands, check on some things, go ahead and make sure that I pet my cat. That's what I gotta do, everybody. But I'm gonna be back on this live stream tomorrow, because every day I'm here to help you build your brand. We're gonna build it together, so make sure you like, tap, and subscribe. And you have your opportunity to be just like me and grow your brand. Don't be worried about everybody. You can do it. I'm gonna see you one day. So go ahead, like and subscribe. I'm gonna come check out your page. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Miss Shannan Paul. Wow. I would like to say that I understood everything in that presentation, but I'm not the Flash. So I hope the judges caught at least half the words that I didn't. And let us know what they think. We'll start with Angela this time. What do you think?
I was so impressed with this one. First of all, I just love how welcoming you were with everyone. That was so nice. Every time you said it, I just felt very important. I could say, though, as someone who is a social media expert, that that you should have said like and subscribe at least 10 more times.
Fair enough. You're right. You're right. Rookie mistake.
That is usually what happens. Not to put down your presentation, because otherwise it was very good. I appreciate you brought in a cat, because again, you know, just dogs. Not to say anything bad about Greg, but the only place you did not include everyone, there were 2 examples of cheese and nothing was vegan. But it's okay, it's okay. I do have a question for you, though. You said you should copy someone's algorithm. So if you're shooting your shot, does that mean that you shoot someone else's shot, or that they shoot it at you?
It's always shoot somebody else's shot, because if they're shooting at you, then that means that you gotta wait until they're available to shoot you.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you get more points. That cleared that up. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Anytime.
Oh, that makes sense. Sure. Okay.
But you were confused anyway,
Charles.
Tim. It's all right. I'll
No,
help
that
you.
made
every other
complete
word.
sense, Tim.
Charles.
He's not
what
a
do you-
social media person. It's
Well,
fine.
I wasn't really with you until I logged on to your stream, and then I believed every word you said.
Thank you very much. Sometimes it really matters that you're like in a place that you can receive the information.
That's
so,
right.
yeah,
I
you just
saw
gotta be in the right spot.
the hearts and the thumbs ups and all the,
The heart
loving
memes. Did you
things,
see
and
the
I
heart
thought,
memes? The heart memes. I got
love
the heart
this
memes.
too.
Yeah.
I love this too. I love the whole thing, and I'm on board. I'm on the Shannan train.
Thank you very much, as you should.
All right, Shannan
Thank you for
train.
tapping the live, Judge.
Ariel,
Thank
what
you
do
for
you think?
tapping the live.
Well, first off, I just have to give you a big thank you for including me in the corner of your screen. I gained 4 Instagram followers while you were up here. And not only just no old selfie stick, you got yourself a selfie stand. It's lovely. You kept within the frame. You get a couple extra points for that. The only thing I have to say is, the breakneck speed at which you were going, with all your comments about touching grass, I was worried you maybe touched a little too much.
Fair enough, fair enough.
The only thing
Generally,
I have
that
to warn you
slows me
about is
down.
that I did see Miley throwing some shade back after that comment. But I think, give her a call. You guys will work it out.
And and right now she just dropped a new album, so I think she's in that, any comments or good comments.
Yeah. But in general, between your presentation and that dress, you can take me to church.
All right. Let's hear it from Miss Shannan Paul. Well done. That is a tough act to follow it, but follow it somebody must. Who could it possibly be? Somebody who can handle any situation with aplomb. Somebody from, let's say, England. How about Lee Harris, everyone? Hello, Lee.
Hey, Tim.
Welcome back to the States, and I think I speak for everyone here when I say you can have them. But with that said, what is your presentation topic today?
I'm going to be talking about how to get into writing, some tips and tricks for new writers.
Oh, because you're an editor.
Because I'm an editor.
That sounds like something that you're very expertise at.
I am very expertise at words, yes.
All right, that's great. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. It's better if you talk and I don't. Lee Harris, everyone.
So I've only done this presentation once before, but I come to CONvergence and I am constantly awed and humbled by the generosity and the welcome that I get here. I play some silly games sometimes when I'm here, but I thought it was useful for me to give some of my experience and expertise to the writers among you, and rather than play some silly game on stage, to actually give you a serious presentation that'll help you in your careers. So if I could get the first slide, please. Now, you might wonder what the significance of this is. And this is really talking about research. Writers will often go to huge trouble to make sure that the facts that they have in their books are correct, that they're verifiable. I say, that's lazy. Don't go spending weeks or months, sometimes even years, trying to get the science right in your science fiction, trying to get the names of the mythical creatures correct. No, that is lazy. What you should be doing is writing so well that the reader believes every word you say. Anything less than that, that's just poor writing. Could I get the next slide, please? Now, this is a slide that really speaks to people who work in publishing as well as the writers. On the rocket science side of things, as I mentioned just now, there is no need whatsoever to do any sort of research there at all. If you need a rocket up in space, use a catapult. If you need a character to be an expert in a particular, let's say, medical procedure, just make it up. Almost none of your readers are brain surgeons, so they're not going to know. And in terms of the center, hold my beer, well, this is where you'll find most professional writers sitting in the bar, thinking about the worlds that they're about to create. Because there is nothing more important to a writer than contemplation. Next slide, please. Okay. So, this is a slide about words and how words can inform the work that you're currently writing, and how unimportant it is that every single word that you use currently exists. Make them up. Your readers won't know. They'll come across words that you've invented that they have never heard in their lives because you invented them. They're not going to say anything because they don't want to come across as being stupid. So have fun. Shakespeare made up tons of words, and he did okay. After he died. So, if you need to say something in your literature, if you need to have a particular concept come across, and you can't think of the actual word, it's on the tip of your tongue, don't go going to the thesaurus, don't go going to the dictionary. That's research. Invent it. You're a creative person. This is what you do. This is what a writer does. Next slide, please. I keep harping on about the importance of not researching, and I think this is probably the last slide that I will talk about this. Can I lick it? The answer is always yes. Particularly at CONvergence. Next slide, please. Removing the convention smell. Okay. Now, here we're talking about the convention of working a particular number of hours or working to a particular word count every day. Some writers like to say, well, I want to do 2 hours of writing in the morning, and then I'm going to go off to my proper job. Some writers like to say, well, I want to write 2,000 words in a day rather than something time-based. But it's very much a convention that writers will set themselves a target. That's the wrong thing to do. That stinks, to be fair. A real writer writes full-time. There's no such thing as a part-time writer. Writers do not write part-time. There is no such thing as a professional writer that has another job. Because writing is a full-time occupation. If you're not sitting down in front of your word processor or your notepad, your brain is coming up with new worlds, with new characters. You are writing all the time. You can't do that if you're sitting in front of a class full of smelly kids. You can't do that if you're standing behind the counter at a fast food restaurant. You need to be able to give your mind the time to come up with these words, so that by the time you sit in front of your keyboard, the book is already written. All that remains now is the words. And yes, if you're just getting into writing full time, there is going to be pain. If you give up work, and you must give up your work if you want to be a writer. And yes, there will be pain, but that is the point of it. That is absolutely the point, because what is a writer without pain? You wouldn't ask Rembrandt to give up his brushes. Why? Because a brush is the tool that he uses to put the paint onto the canvas. Pain is the tool that a writer uses to create his or her or their masterpiece. So no, give up that work. Go full time. There is nothing more painful than creating novels. Next slide, please. As part of your work, you will encounter various unusual individuals. You'll be tempted to put some of them into your next book. But there is one person in the entire writing process that is more important than anyone else. And I mean anyone else. And that is your editor. Arguably, your editor is more important than you. Because your editor is the person that takes what you've created and makes it make sense. Your editor is the person that helps you write the book that you thought you'd already written. So, yes, if you come across a number of people, if you come across, I can see marketing people in this slide. I can see publicists. And at the back there, I think we have some of Shannan's social media influencers. And yes, they all play a part. But cultivate your relationship with your editor, because they are the most important people you will ever meet. Inside or outside of publishing. Next slide, please. This is representative. This is representative of the simplicity of the writing process. Do not research. Do make up words. Love your editor. 3 things, 3 buttons that you have to press. That's all that matters. And you are guaranteed New York Times bestseller status.
That was amazing. That was amazingly. I always wondered what it took to be a New York Times bestseller. I thought you just had to write something about a president. But I guess there's more than that to it, and I'm glad we all had a chance to learn what those things were. Judges, what do you think? Charles, why don't we start with you this time?
Fantastic. Do not research, make up words, and love your editor. Got it. Writing is one of the most difficult tasks of the human endeavor. And there you stand grounded and statuesque. And I hope that Tim really learned something. And I think that when it comes to hamburgers and beer, that you seem to have consumed a lot of that. And I would like to join you. And if you're available to have your ennui licked, I have one question.
What's the question?
And where is the cue?
Okay. Ariel.
Well, first off, I have to say, most British performers are really good at a Southern accent, and I think the audience might have understood that a little bit better. But as somebody who spent a lot of time playing Shakespearean men in her 20s, I was with you completely. I was very impressed by the way you managed to rally the anti-Shakespearean crowd in the audience. I think they're all ready to fly back with you and burn the globe to the ground, except the one person in the front row who was on their phone the whole time. As we all know,
research.
Charles. Now, I have to say you have inspired me finally to sit down and do some writing. I figure I'm just going to take those little magnet boxes and just start putting them in any order I please, so thank you very much. The only criticism I have is that you kind of just kept petting a tiny midget through the whole thing. I think you could switch
That
up.
was going to be explained on the next slide, but we ran out of time.
Oh, foolish. Well, wonderfully done, and thanks for flying all the way here.
Thank you.
Just for this panel.
For the
Angela.
best panel that has ever been at 3:30 on a Friday.
Yeah. Angela, what are your thoughts?
Well, I have to say, I was impressed right off the bat that you had Tim demonstrate making up words. Yeah. Expertise.
Even before we started.
That was, I mean, although I don't know if it's allowed, there seems to be a lot of commingling happening. I mean, there's a little planning with the announcer. I apparently are going to be dating Charlie. But otherwise, it was very, very, I learned a lot. As a writer myself, I actually got more motivated. I realized, you know what? I should just sit down. I should just write. And then even if I can't afford food, I'm probably going to be more successful after I'm dead.
That is exactly the right attitude.
Oh my gosh.
That's the point about pain. All right. Once again, let's put our hands together for Mr. Lee. We have one more presenter. Another individual who's presented many, many times. We haven't seen her for a few years. I'm so excited that we have her back with us tonight. Please, let's hear it for Andrea Ropella. Andrea. So great to see you back again, Andrea. So great to have you here with us tonight. What's your topic for this evening?
Well, given the theme is how we roll, I thought I would do a topic on unconventional character builds.
Unconventional character builds. Can't wait.
Yeah.
Take it away.
Well, every D&D party has sort of the standard character build. You got your healer, you got your tank, you got your laser cleric, you've got your bard that just sweet talks everyone. But do you have a wizard that has a 7th level spell called Power Word Pasta and is an excellent chef? Because you should, as my next slide will demonstrate. You see, when you have your pasta chef adventuring in the world, there's a certain element of physics to a D&D world. You wouldn't think that D&D has physics, but it does, and in fact, it can be to your advantage. Like a video game, you can't turn into an octopus in a video game because octopuses can hold their breath for an hour outside of water and use your ink to put out fires. I'd like to see a video game do that. Speaking of what video games don't do, let's find out about that with the next slide. So, how many computer nerds out there know your CMYK or whatever? Give me a round of applause or something if you do. So in D&D, we actually have 6 distinct colors, and they're based on the elements. We start off with copper, or cupric, and we have it be sort of a blue, melancholy color, because, copper rusts, but it's pretty when it rusts, it's pretty when it isn't rusty. It kind of does a little bit of both. You got sodium, it's got that explosive personality, and if you're making your D&D character, have you ever tried having a little tiny gnome with an explosive personality? It really lights up the room. Yeah, that was my one pun. I only got one pun today. You've got barium. Barium is sort of the generic catch-all element. Barium is the person that shows up and they were playing a human in 3.5 because they got an extra feat. And now they sort of don't know what to do with themselves, so they decide to be a green human. And we really wanted to give them some build ideas, so we thought, hey, let's give them the barium human. Let's make them the greenest human you could find around. As far as the others, those are just explosive, dangerous, and slightly terrifying. You want to stay away from those. I am not a chemist, by the way, so chemists out there, I'm sorry for mischaracterizing elements. Let's go to the next slide. So, I'm going to let you have this one for free. Hear me out. You get a really good buddy. If one of you would be my buddy, that would be great. And one of you plays a dwarf that is extraordinarily short, very muscular and broad, and wears full spiked plate with a chain attached to the back. The other person is a giant muscular barbarian. You know what that barbarian's weapon is? You. And you gotta remember, that dwarf, super stout, super, resilient. You hit a couple of orcs with it, you hit a couple of kobolds with the dwarf, and the dwarf's fine. They're just tired, ugly, and half asleep. Speaking of half asleep, have you thought about playing a sleeping character? Well, you will after this next slide. So, imagine you're in your D&D party, and you've started colluding with the DM. Like I'm colluding right now with the judges. Will you, if you were in a D&D campaign, would you be like the hidden sleeper cell amongst the party, or would you play with party cohesiveness?
Oh, yes, I like to destroy my party from within.
Exactly. You want to have them asking you the entire time, is it a Skrull? Because you know the answer is yes, but they don't. Next slide, please. So, we know the rogues. Rogues like to, pinch things here and there. But hear me out on this character's concept. You are a warlock. You could have a patron that is like a genie, a demon. How about your neighbor Dave? And your boons that you get from your neighbor Dave are all the tools you borrowed and didn't return. Dave is not here, man, as we'll see in this next slide. Okay, so you show up to session 0, everybody's designed their characters, nobody can cast any spells. What do? You play a character that watched the D&D version of Grey's Anatomy and every other medical bar drama out there. You say, with this knife and this fork, I can heal half of this party. You can only heal half, but you can heal that half very well. The other half, they're gonna need a little bit of regular upkeep, as we'll find out in this next slide. So Kate Kane is a great character. She's fundamentally flawed, but she is a really great character as Batwoman. She is sort of the pinnacle of bats, if you will. Well, there are other pinnacles of bats, but she's my pinnacle of bats. Now, you take the separate parts that make up her, and we look at her as a potential character concept. We look at her as she has to pretend to be something she's not. We go back to that Skrull idea. You're pretending to be something you're not. We think about, a party that doesn't have a healer or being unconventional. Maybe you're a half bat person instead of like a minotaur. You've got the bottom half of a bat. And then we got man. You could take him or leave him in your party. If you want to have them in your party, cool. But if you bring everything together, you get a beautiful, beautiful character concept that might just delight and amaze you. Let's see that next slide. So we've talked about unconventional character concepts. There's one skill that I love bringing to my table, and that is duct tape engineering. It is the idea that you can craft literally anything as long as you have time and just a little bit of resources. It might be really, really hard. It might not work out so well. You might discover that octopuses really can't breathe for an hour outside of land, but you'll have a really good time doing it. Thank you.
All right, well done. Andrea, it's so great once again to have you back. Glad you could tie in the convention theme. I'm really glad somebody was able to do that before we finished. So judges, why don't we have your thoughts before we get ready for final judging? Why don't we go with Ariel? What do you think?
Well, you awoke some deep, long-seated dreams of mine. I was gaming all through lockdown, as I sure to God hope everybody else was. And my deep wishes for that sleeper cell, you saw that in me. I felt it. I felt the connection there. I would join your party anytime. And, as far as weapons of choice go, I think you have a lovely option with Angela down there. And please, the only thing I need to know is what kind of pasta will it be?
Oh, that's tough. See, I think it scales upward. So it starts off really simple. You can do bow tie, macaroni, the occasional spaghetti, and then you start getting more advanced as you level up. You can do bucatini, farfalle, linguine, all the fun pastas.
Speaking my language. 100 points.
Okay. Math is also a problem for Ariel. Good, okay. Angela.
Well, first I have to give you points for I think I should ask Shannon. I think I saw her last lecture. It was on brand, I believe, that you picked unconventional character builds for our theme. That was really good.
Thank you for noticing that.
Yes,
I learned something.
That was phenomenal. I was really excited. And then honestly, I kind of lost track of what you were saying after you came over and it started involving us. And so I just think you win. Oh, I'm sorry. No, not officially.
You have to deliberate first.
Oh, we have to deliberate first.
Charles.
Of course.
Unconventional character builds. Yours today must be that of a human facilitator. Clearly not of the Gary Gygax Club, and I appreciate that. I'm with you on that. Thank you for that. You seem to be speaking from a place of growth and pain, from the trials and errors of character generation. I'm curious about any pasta combat tables you may have created. And if you can make them available online, I would like to download them as soon as possible.
Definitely after the show. I totally will.
Absolutely, on board. But thank you for enlightening me, and I can't wait to roll up another character due to
Roll
this
for
inspiration.
pasta.
All right. Okay, great. Judges, thank you for your feedback. We're going to do one thing really quickly as we get ready to wind down PowerPoint karaoke while you're debating, because I know this is very
We're still
difficult
debating.
for amazing presentations. We're going to do a group presentation. We're going to bring back all of our presenters to do one final presentation today. Rather than have them argue over what the presentation is going to be, I'm going to just give you a presentation, because next year our theme for the convention is going to be robots and androids, and I think that your presentation is going to be why Skynet is our friend. So, why Skynet is our friend, they'll be doing that presentation. This is not part of your judging, by the way. This is just like
I'll judge you anyway.
This is just an exhibition. This is just an exhibition. We'll start with Andrea. You pass between each slide and take it away.
Well, why Skynet is your friend. There's sort of a words of wisdom when there's sort of this entity that's out there and just is sort of connected to everything, knows pretty much everything about you. You got to be very considerate about how you speak, which is why this next slide will highlight exactly what we're looking for.
Because not only does Skynet know everyone, it knows you personally, like deep inside your mind, because it's been listening for a really long time. And so sometimes if you don't want to feel welcoming, you just want somebody to sneak up and go, I see you, and I can help you on the high shelf or the low shelf. And that's what Skynet will be able to do for us. Next slide.
Now, it's important to remember that Skynet and other elements of Skynet exist everywhere, no matter what country you're in, no matter what state you're in, no matter what city you're in. However, that means that because of this vast global network, it has access to many languages. So, while you are being welcoming and welcomed with it, remember that as you deal with any sort of assistive AI, that you remember to use your please and your thank you. And it doesn't matter what language, because we are talking about a global infrastructure, and that ensures that the AI knows that you're not just taking it for granted, that you are considering it as an actual assistant, as an actual source of help, as it slowly takes over every aspect of our lives. Next slide, please.
It's really important to realize that Skynet is already here. It's not complete yet. It's not finished. But the basics of the artificial intelligence that will one day help us is already here. We're using it in our everyday lives. There is a danger that if we use it incorrectly, that it just might turn against us a little. And so what we want to make sure is that if it does turn against us, and really none of us want that, but if it does turn against us, we have to have the tools put in place to be able to counteract that. Now that's whether we wrap up the massive servers in some sort of, I don't know, concrete, or whether we simply find a way to cut the ties between the different countries with the undersea cables that connect us all in our everyday lives. But let's just remember that it's already here. Let's be aware of that. Next slide, please.
So one thing that many of you probably don't know about me is that I work in content strategy, and I write help content for a living. And every single town hall I attend, I'm told that I need to make sure that I'm embracing AI and using it for my job, which is to write. If that's not a lesson in inevitability, I don't know what is. Next slide.
Some things that we do as humans right now is just way too difficult. Now, as a performer, I, for years, have been going, I would like to write the perfect haiku and never have. But then I made a new friend, and I call her Skynet. And every day I wake up to a new, perfectly created haiku. So whatever you need that you have been waiting to do and you couldn't do on your own, Skynet is going to be able to help you do that. Next slide.
Now, it's important to forget that... That was a Venn diagram of thoughts right there. It's important to remember that in these early stages of Skynet's life, it is not infallible. And as our graph shows, as our Venn diagram shows, lorem ipsum dolorsit amet, it calls to mind one of the more recent uses of AI, and that is in labels for Target Corporation Pride Gear. Where, there was no actual tag text generated. It was all lorem ipsum, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's the joke that goes in the overlap there, Melissa. Next slide.
Thank you, thank you.
So what this slide is demonstrating is just really to remind us of the overall theme of this presentation, and that is why Skynet is our friend. And it is our friend currently because it looks out for us. Just as you would be looking out for your pets or your friends, your family members, if you ever saw them in a dangerous situation. That's what Skynet is looking to do for us now. And it's really, really important that we go forward with that in mind, that we don't automatically assume that Skynet is going to turn evil, because what technology has ever been put to evil uses? None, I think you'll agree. But there are some things that we can do to ensure that, because we saw a slide earlier that showed that Skynet knows us individuals intimately, there are some things that we can do, some very, very straightforward steps to make sure that Skynet knows that we, as individuals, are not just not a threat, but we embrace it, that we're its friend. This next slide is a perfect example of what we can do to ensure that.
So, you've heard a lot about how good Skynet is, and you've heard a lot about the common pitfalls of Skynet. Just remember that nobody knows where John Connor is. Thank you.
All right. It's really, it's great to be able to anticipate next year's PowerPoint Karaoke, which will once again be the best panel at 3:30 on main stage at CONvergence. Can't wait for that. But we need to know who the winner is. There's only 4 possibilities here on this stage, but only one that will actually win. Judges, who have you determined is our winner here today?
It was an unprecedented thing. There was a tie with 18 points between Lee and Shannan, but we decided Shannan for more likes.
Yeah! All right. Miss Shannan Paul is our winner.
Tap like and subscribe.
Once again.
Tap like and subscribe. Thank you for the heartbeat.
I want to
Thank you
hear,
for the
I want to hear
heartbeat.
for our judges. Thanks to the last minute, Angela, Charles, and Ariel. Our presenters, of course, Miss Shannan, our winner, Andrea, Gregory, and Lee, and at the back. As always, the person who puts a lot of work into every slide except apparently one this evening. Let's hear it for Melissa Kaercher. Now go forward and enjoy your convention. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.